25 years ago, Alice Cooper released one of the heaviest albums of his career, Brutal Planet, an industrial metal album that came out after a 6-year absence. But what if I told you that this album is actually considered to be a Christian metal album? That's the topic of today's video. I will be going over Alice's relationship with Christianity, then the release of Brutal Planet and how it included biblical themes in the lyrics, including one song which is possibly a sequel to the 1975 hit Only Women Bleed. And finally, I will talk about some of the other Christian publications and what they had to say about it, including one publication that made the claim, if no one believes in God, we literally have a brutal planet. But first, let me start at the beginning. Alice Cooper had a very complicated relationship with Christianity. If you didn't know, his real name is Vincent Fernier, and he was raised in a Christian household. His father was a pastor and evangelist. His grandfather was also a pastor. However, he famously strayed from his religious roots as he became famous and delved into the rock and roll lifestyle. This led to a struggle with alcoholism and drug addiction. His turning point came in the early 1980s, specifically around 1983, when his struggles with alcoholism and a failing marriage reached a crisis point. He woke up one morning vomiting blood. Doctors told him he would die if he didn't stop drinking. This, coupled with the urging of his wife Cheryl, led him to seek help through Christian counseling. So let me read a quote by Alice. He says, "Drinking beer is easy. Trashing your hotel room is easy. But being a Christian, that's a tough call. That's rebellion." He refers to himself as the prodigal son, having gone as far away as he could from his upbringing before being reeled back in by God. He committed to becoming sober and returning to his faith, and he's been sober for decades. Since his renewed commitment to Christianity, Alice Cooper has been open about his faith. He attends church regularly, participates in Bible study, and has even taught Sunday school. He emphasizes that his faith is a one-on-one relationship with Jesus Christ, and that being a Christian doesn't mean he can't be a rock star. He sees his lifestyle as his testimony. Let me read another quote. "My father was a pastor. My grandfather was an evangelist. I grew up in the church. I went as far away as I could from it. I almost died, and then I came back to the church." This profound personal transformation didn't stop him from continuing his musical journey. In fact, it arguably influenced the darker, more introspective themes found on the 2000 album, Brutal Planet, which is the subject matter of today's video. Alice Cooper's Brutal Planet was released on June 6, 2000. It's now celebrating 25 years. On this album, he decided to take a musical direction that he had never taken before, industrial metal. It was his 21st studio album and his first of new material since The Last Temptation from 1994, making this his largest gap between albums at the time. The album is darker and heavier than many of his previous works. Despite this, some people just called it a new metal album, but it was much more. The album was produced by Bob Marlette and features a thick, grinding sound that contributes to its overall dark atmosphere. Brutal Planet is also a concept album that delves into the dark social fiction and the harsh realities of the world. Alice Cooper stated that his inspiration came from simply watching the news. The lyrics tackle a range of serious societal issues, often with a bleak and cynical perspective. Let me give you a few examples of what he sings about and what they're about. So the title track, Brutal Planet, paints a grim picture of humanity's history while at the same time referencing biblical stories and corruption in society. There's no parole, there's no great escape. Wicked Young Man addresses school shootings and the presence of pure evil, inspired in part by the Columbine incident. Down my law, in blood upon the street, to the cadence of a good step. Sanctuary explores the monotony and futility of modern life, the hamster wheel, 9 to 5, all that stuff. And Blow Me a Kiss deals with prejudice and hatred due to differences. As you can see, he addresses a wide variety of topics. But what about the other songs? So let's talk about him. He talks about some other stuff. Eat Some More criticizes gluttony and food waste in developed countries while people starve elsewhere. Pick Up the Bones is an anti-war song depicting the aftermath of conflict.
My mother's gone.
Take It Like a Woman is a song about domestic violence and could even be an unofficial sequel to his 1975 hit Only Women Bleed.
Mama's little girl, Daddy's little princess.
Gimme is a powerful commentary on greed and selfish desires. And finally, Cold Machines is a foreboding look at the future of unsocial, detached individuals. Now we've explored the individual themes within Brutal Planet. Let's delve into the album's overall reception and lasting impact. Brutal Planet was generally well received by critics and fans who appreciated its heavier sound and thought-provoking lyrics. Many considered it a strong return to form for Alice Cooper. While some noted its repetitive nature in terms of mood, the strong songwriting, and powerful themes, they were consistently praised. Doug Van Pelt of HM Magazine, an alternative Christian music publication, even found that the lyrics communicated biblical morals in a very powerful way. Therefore, the fans of Christian metal started to notice it, so it eventually got labeled as a Christian metal album by fans. There's also a number of Christian publications that talked about this album, and I will get to that later on in the video. But you may be wondering, did Alice Cooper intend for this album to be part of the Christian metal genre? Now, this might surprise you, but the truth is that Brutal Planet was not exclusively marketed as a Christian metal album. Alice Cooper continued to operate within the mainstream rock world, but it's often seen by Christian listeners and reviewers as containing strong Christian themes and a moral message due to Cooper's personal faith. Let's talk about a few more reasons why it's considered to have Christian leanings. First of all, by the time Brutal Planet was released in 2000, Alice Cooper had been an outspoken born-again Christian for nearly 2 decades. His personal convictions naturally influence his songwriting, even if he doesn't explicitly preach it in his music. Secondly, the album's central theme is the Brutal Planet itself, a world consumed by sin, depravity, and human evil. The lyrics often point out the ugliness of humanity's actions, such as violence, greed, prejudice, and moral decay. This resonates with a Christian worldview that recognizes the fallen nature of humanity and the presence of sin in the world. In addition, the title track, Brutal Planet, directly references the Garden of Eden and where Adam fell, linking the current state of the world to original sin. It also mentions stoning prophets and feeding Christians to lions, drawing on biblical history and persecution. Despite this, it was not accepted by all Christians, as some Christian reviewers have noted that while the album vividly portrays the brokenness of the world, it doesn't offer a direct solution or explicit message of salvation within the lyrics. However, this absence of hope can be interpreted as implicitly pointing to the need for a spiritual answer, which for Alice Cooper is found in Christianity. As one reviewer put it, the album shines a light on the ugly reality of sin in a broken world. I think it is light of this reality that we can more deeply appreciate that the love of God has for his fallen creation. Let me talk more about what some of the other Christian publications and reviewers have said. First one is Cross Rhythms, a Christian music and culture website. They noted that the album covers the hopelessness of the brutal planet we inhabit, the sin and ugliness we are exposed to, the mess we create each day, and the senselessness of it all. I mentioned the lack of a positive antithesis or explicit hope. One commenter said that the album shines a light on the ugly reality of sin in a broken world, reminding them of biblical passages on God's grief over evil. This perspective suggests that by portraying the world's brokenness, the album implicitly points to the need for God's love and forgiveness. There's also a publication named Angelic Warlord, Christian metal resource. They also highlighted Brutal Planet as one of Cooper's releases that reflects his Christian faith. It described the album's theme as exploring the idea that if no one believes in God, we literally have a brutal planet. In addition, as previously mentioned, Doug Van Pelt, editor of alternative Christian music-oriented HM Magazine, found that the lyrics communicated biblical morals in a very powerful way. He stated the title track in particular condemns the system of judgment used by the world. Then there was Something Else Reviews, which published an article discussing the album. It referred to its lyrical content and as having a pseudo-Christian overtone and described Brutal Planet as a morality play set to metal. It stated that there's a clear struggle between good and evil in just about every song, and there's a clear message from Alice Cooper on most of them. The article noted that while it might not be considered a Christian record, many people, including non-Christians, would likely agree with the points Cooper makes due to his born-again Christian perspective, influencing biblical references and viewpoints expressed. After this, he released another album called Dragontown with a similar sound and similar themes, but I haven't done a video on that one yet. I did do one on Alice Cooper's Flush to Fashion, which is considered one of his blackout albums that he did while he was really suffering from alcohol abuse. I'll stick that video. I'll put that one right over there. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please give the video a like. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.